David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, right here, the breaking news, our live coverage, the astronauts and the homecoming. The 4 astronauts re-entering the Earth's atmosphere at 24,000 miles per hour. The heat shield tested those 13 crucial minutes. The splashdown, the history made tonight. And we'll go live to Will Reeve right off the top tonight. Also breaking tonight, President Trump just moments ago on Iran, this shaky ceasefire. The Strait of Hormuz, few ships getting through. And tonight in the U.S., new inflation numbers up and gas prices in the U.S. seeing the biggest one-month spike in decades. What President Trump is now saying. Also, did the president know about First Lady Melania Trump's plans to talk about Jeffrey Epstein in front of the American people? What the president just said. Tonight, the alarming news just 2 weeks after that deadly collision at LaGuardia Airport. Now comes word tonight of a near crash at LAX. One pilot can be heard saying that was the closest I've ever seen. What's going on? Tonight, the disturbing firebomb attack. A law enforcement source says this image shows the suspect targeting the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, one of the leaders in artificial intelligence. The harrowing video tonight after a deadly shooting on campus. The suspect, armed with a handgun, can be seen chasing students through the student union. And tonight, authorities on whether the suspect asked artificial intelligence to help him. What's now been revealed. Tonight, the suspect, who authorities believe set a massive warehouse fire, according to court records, comparing himself to Luigi Mangione and what that worker said with that lighter in his hand. Tonight, the woman whose husband says she fell overboard and was swept out to sea. That husband arrested, and what's now happened. Disturbing video tonight showing a newly appointed police chief slapping a man in a wheelchair. And what's happened now? Tonight, the golfer at the Masters now facing possible punishment after making an obscene gesture. And America Strong tonight, the children across this country waiting to welcome the astronauts home.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news as we come on the air in the West, and it's great to start with some good news tonight. You saw it here live on ABC just a short time ago. The crew of Artemis II splashing down off the coast of Southern California, completing their historic journey around the moon and back. Just moments ago here, our first look at the astronauts emerging from the capsule from Integrity after their historic mission. The first humans to fly to the moon in more than 50 years. And this was the extraordinary moment they emerged from the capsule after re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, the blistering heat, 5,000 degrees, and then those crucial 13 minutes until splashdown. With America watching tonight, the astronauts on the Orion capsule re-entering the atmosphere, right on schedule, of course, the heat shield holding, and then those beautiful parachutes deploying. Exactly as NASA had predicted, splashdown occurring at 8:07 in the east, 5:07 in the west, right off the coast of San Diego. The crew will now undergo post-mission medical evaluations on board the USS Mertha. NASA beginning a new chapter tonight in its return to the moon. ABC's Will Reeve on the California coast, leading us off tonight.
Tonight, splashdown.
Splashdown confirmed.
10 days after lifting off from Kennedy Space Center and traveling further than any human has traveled before,
a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete.
Those 4 Artemis II astronauts are now home.
All 4 crew members are in excellent shape.
The Orion spacecraft landing in the Pacific off Southern California just after 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
We have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere.
They entered the Earth's atmosphere traveling 32 times the speed of sound, 45 times faster than a commercial airliner. That heat shield protecting the astronauts from temperatures of up to 5,000 degrees. The heat and plasma knocking out all communications between the crew and mission control for 6 excruciating minutes. They knew this would happen. This was the moment they regained contact.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
And there go the first series of parachutes.
Those parachutes deploying, slowing the spacecraft down to about 20 miles an hour before it hit the water.
Splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
And the initial, you can hear it.
The crew carefully brought out of the spacecraft by Navy divers, one at a time. Commander Reed Wiseman, the last one to be removed.
Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle, all 4 crew members now out of Integrity.
It's the culmination of a 10-day, nearly 695,000-mile journey around the far side of the moon, breaking the record, traveling further from the Earth than any human has before. The crew, Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialists Christina Cook and Canadian Jeremy Hansen, capturing breathtaking images of the moon and the Earth. And their reaction, their words, nearly as striking as the images themselves.
Can actually make out the coastline of the continent. It is just absolutely phenomenal. You guys look great.
What we really hoped in our soul is that we could, for just a moment, have the world pause and remember that this is a beautiful planet in a very special place in our universe, and we should all cherish what we have been gifted.
And tonight, one of the most impressive images of all, the first sight of those astronauts emerging, making history.
Well, it is extraordinary to have witnessed this with you, Will, live on ABC a short time ago. And as you heard that team of astronauts say, they're hoping that we will all just take a break and remember what a beautiful place we have to call home on this planet Earth. And just some of the numbers you reported there, Will, 24,000 miles per hour when it hit the Earth's atmosphere, about 13 minutes there, the re-entry to splashdown, and those 6 excruciating minutes when we couldn't hear from them. And that's exactly how it played out.
That's right, David. A remarkable sequence of events, really tense moments all the way throughout, but ultimately a successful, inspiring mission.
And Will, we're looking at these images of the parachutes. They might be the most beautiful parachutes we've ever seen.
They really are. I wish I could have seen them here with all the assembled folks in San Diego, but miles out there. Beautiful, beautiful sight regardless.
All right. Will Reeve, part of the History Tonight, too. What a great assignment. Will, thanks for leading us off here tonight. We're going to turn to the other news this Friday evening, and also breaking, President Trump speaking a short time ago about the shaky ceasefire with Iran. Days now after the president's ceasefire, the Strait of Hormuz, only a few ships getting through. Tonight, new inflation numbers here in the U.S., they're up, and gas prices in the U.S. seeing the biggest one-month spike in decades. So what President Trump is now saying about all this, and Mary Bruce at the White House tonight.
Tonight, President Trump closely monitoring the ceasefire on the eve of the high-stakes talks between the U.S. and Iran.
What would a good deal look like for you?
No nuclear weapons.
Tonight, the Iranian delegation arriving in Islamabad, which is hosting the negotiations. Vice President J.D. Vance on his way there.
If the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
Iran has already failed to comply with the president's main condition for the ceasefire, reopening the Strait of Hormuz. 4 days after the ceasefire was announced, only 2 ships today moving through the waterway. Trump posting Iran is doing a very poor job, dishonorable some would say, of allowing oil to go through the Strait of Hormuz. That is not the agreement we have. Iran accuses the U.S. of going back on its promise to get Israel to stop attacking Iran-backed Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Trump says that was never part of the deal. And tonight, Iran adding a new condition, saying the U.S. must release Iran's blocked assets before negotiations begin. But it's unclear what that means. The president posting, the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. Here at home, the war's toll mounting. Inflation surging 3.3%, a 2-year high. Much of it driven by a 21% increase in gas prices, the largest one-month increase since 1967. The average price of a gallon of gas now $4.12. Among the hardest hit, farmers like Ben Smith in Bealton, Virginia, who tells our Elizabeth Schulze he's now grappling with soaring costs for diesel and fertilizer.
So you're talking more than $100,000 in extra costs because exactly of right. What we're seeing with the supply chain and the war.
That's right. We didn't see this one coming. We weren't prepared.
And David, while the president is closely monitoring these talks, he's also reacting to the First Lady's extraordinary statement yesterday about sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Melania Trump insists she was not friends with Epstein and that he did not introduce her to her husband. Tonight, President Trump telling the New York Times he didn't know what the First Lady was going to say, but that she, quote, had a right to talk about it. The president says, I didn't recommend it, but I said, I let it be her. I said, if you want to do it. The First Lady is demanding that Epstein's victims be allowed to testify before Congress. David, no word what the president thinks of that.
Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Thank you, Mary. This evening, the alarming news just 2 weeks after that deadly collision at LaGuardia Airport, a passenger plane and a fire truck. Now comes word of a near crash at LAX, and a pilot can be heard saying that was the closest I've ever seen. So what's going on at the airports? Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Just weeks after that deadly collision at New York's LaGuardia Airport involving an Air Canada plane and a fire truck, now comes word tonight of a dangerous close call at LAX, a Frontier Airlines jet, and several service vehicles.
It was real close, closest I've ever seen.
Listen as the pilot tells air traffic control that he nearly collided with two service trucks crossing in front of the plane as it slowly taxied toward the runway.
We had two trucks just cut us off. It happened so fast. Both of us were just like, holy we just slammed on the brakes.
The close call occurring after 11 p.m. Wednesday. Nico Drake among the 224 on board.
We just started taxiing. The brakes. The pilot slammed on the brakes, and everyone went forward a little bit.
The FAA saying today the incident occurred on a service road between taxiways, which are not controlled by air traffic control, adding ground vehicles are supposed to give right-of-way to the planes. And tonight, ABC News learning of a second incident at that same airport on Wednesday. This time, an Air France pilot forced to abort takeoff after a private jet got too close to the active runway, triggering an alarm.
We can vacate on the left. We have the runway warning system lights red.
And David, that flight continued on to Atlanta as scheduled. Tonight, Frontier says there were no injuries and thanked the crew.
Gio Benitez with us tonight. Gio, thank you. Now to the disturbing firebomb attack in San Francisco. Authorities say targeting the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, one of the leaders in artificial intelligence. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, San Francisco authorities are investigating a brazen firebombing attack at the home of Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world. A law enforcement source says this image obtained by the San Francisco Standard shows the suspect.
Someone threw a Molotov cocktail / sticky bomb at the gate of Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI's residence.
Police responding to the home shortly after 4 a.m., that Molotov cocktail setting an exterior gate on fire. Then less than an hour later, police say the same suspect threatened to burn down OpenAI's headquarters.
There's a subject threatening to burn down the building. Security sees subject holding a jug. Claims there's kerosene in it.
Authorities arresting a 20-year-old man, and tonight Sam Altman breaking his silence, posting this touching image of his family, saying, quote, "Normally we try to be pretty private, but in this case I am sharing a photo in the hopes that it might dissuade the next person from throwing a Molotov cocktail at our house." And David, investigators say no one was hurt in that firebombing, and they're now working to determine a motive. David.
Trevor Ault reporting tonight. Trevor, thanks. Now to the harrowing video just made public after a deadly shooting on the campus at Florida State University. The suspect, armed with a handgun, can be seen chasing students through the student union. And did he ask for help from AI? Here's Pierre Thomas.
Stay on the ground now! Tonight, newly released footage revealing the terrifying moments last year on the campus of Florida State University after a gunman opened fire, killing 2 people and wounding at least 6.
Go ahead and roll EMS right now.
The students scattering and running for their lives. The gunman, weapon in hand, hunting, chasing people at the student union.
It's going to be the suspect down. He's alive. He's breathing.
Taking 20-year-old student Phoenix Eichner into custody. It comes as the Florida Attorney General launches a new investigation.
I got one suspect down.
Into whether AI was used to plan the rampage.
We support innovation, but that doesn't give any company the right to endanger our children.
Court records obtained by ABC affiliate WTXL show the suspect allegedly asked the chatbot, ChatGPT, questions, including, what is the busiest time in the FSU student union? If there was a shooting at FSU, how would the country react? ChatGPT later answering in part, great question. If a shooting had happened at a place like FSU, though, big public university, national name, tons of out-of-state students, it'd probably break through the cycle. Want to explore that angle more? The suspect has pleaded not guilty to murder. OpenAI officials say the company has cooperated with investigators, also noting we continue improving our technology. David?
Pierre Thomas tonight. Thank you, Pierre. Next this evening, the worker who authorities believe set a massive warehouse fire in Ontario, California. According to court records, comparing himself to Luigi Mangione before allegedly starting the fire where he worked. Authorities say video posted on his Facebook account shows him lighting paper products on fire, allegedly upset over pay.
You know, if you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this.
The Kimberly-Clark paper products facility was consumed in flames, damage estimated at more than $500 million. Now to the American woman tonight whose husband says she fell overboard and was swept to sea. That husband was arrested and questioned for hours. And here's Victor Akendo.
5 days after American mother Lynette Hooker fell off a boat and was swept away off the coast of the Bahamas, according to her husband Brian Hooker. Brian still under arrest and in police custody tonight after being questioned for 3 hours today about her disappearance. Authorities requesting an extension until Monday evening.
He definitely denies causing her death, and he's still asking about her and is hopeful that she will be recovered.
Brian has not been charged. He told authorities the couple's dinghy encountered poor weather on the way back to their sailboat Saturday night, and Lynette fell overboard along with the boat's key. Brian says he had to paddle to shore, where he alerted police about Lynette's disappearance 4 a.m. Sunday. Lynette's mother tells ABC News the couple's 25-year marriage was turbulent.
I will tell you that a month ago, my daughter called me, and she was crying, and she said she couldn't take it anymore.
According to a 2015 police report in Michigan, Brian and Lynette accused each other of assault. Police noting Brian had a bloody nose, taking Lynette into custody. Neither faced charges. Tonight, Lynette's mother says she just wants to know what happened to her daughter.
I want the truth.
David, we've also learned Brian Hooker sustained minor injuries while in police custody. His attorney says he's already received treatment. David?
Victor Akendo with us again tonight here. Thanks, Victor. When we come back, disturbing video tonight appearing to show a newly appointed police chief slapping a man in a wheelchair. And what's happened now? Also tonight, the golfer at the Masters now facing possible punishment after what he did. America Strong tonight, the children across this country waiting to welcome the astronauts home. Tonight, a police chief in Arkansas stepping down after video appearing to show him slapping a man in a wheelchair. Witnesses right there say former Chief Robert Eflin slapped a paraplegic man and put him in a headlock during an argument in Osceola. Eflin, only 2 weeks into the job, has now resigned tonight. When we come back here tonight, the golfer at the Masters potentially in hot water now after what he did. To the index, a golfer at the Masters could face possible punishment. Robert MacIntyre held up his middle finger during the first round at Augusta. MacIntyre clearly frustrated after landing a shot on the water near the 15th hole. We can understand. The gesture breaks the Masters' strict etiquette rules, though. No word from the Masters yet. When we come back here on the broadcast, the children across this country with their parents waiting for that moment tonight, and they got it. Finally tonight, countdown to splashdown. Tonight, a simple yet profound photograph going viral, now seen online by millions. Taken by mom Christina Turtle at home in Orlando as her sons watched Artemis II launching right from their front yard. 7-year-old Samuel on the left, 10-year-old Joseph on the right. 8-year-old Lucas He in his mother's arms, watching with his binoculars at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. In Ponte Vedra, Florida, 6-year-old Mason in his red, white, and blue, watching the launch outside his home with his parents. For generations, children, along with the rest of us, looking up. While back in Orlando,
hi, David.
Dad Reverend John Turtle at Emmanuel Episcopal Church, the whole family on the moment.
Amazing to watch these astronauts ascend. Very awe-inspiring.
Really incredible moment. Felt really special.
It was cool that they were going to be the furthest around the moon. They're like going the furthest of anyone ever gone from Earth.
Main chute deploy.
And tonight, after the history made with children across this country watching those astronauts splash down off the coast of California, Samuel and Joseph watching too.
Thanks for having us on, David. Bye.
Well, thank you. The wonder for the children watching history made yet again. I'm David Muir. I'll see you right back here on Monday. From all of us, good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.